Hi everyone, this is Apostrophe. Let's continue our game of Vampire the Masquerade, Coteries of New York on Nintendo Switch. Yeah, unfortunately, I didn't get every single ally. I don't know what the trick was to getting another vampire, but obviously I didn't do it right. Please go. I don't want you to be here. Adelaide bounces up from the sofa with surprising energy. I go to all this trouble, and this is the thanks I get? I could get angry from being treated like this. For a second, Adelaide's words worry you, but then you notice the playful glint in her eye. You're playing hard to get. It's adorable. You want money? Is that the game you want to play? The client and the hooker? This is fun. You should really get mad at me. The door to your apartment opens. Someone with a key. Sophie. Adelaide Davis, the scourge of Snug Harbor, in the flesh. This is a new low for you, fledgling. Adelaide looks at Sophie murderously before fading from view. I hate it when they disappear. They should have enough manners to slink away in embarrassment so we can all enjoy it. Sophie waits for the door of the apartment to close before she speaks. The client of the moon. Did I not advise caution when dealing with him? As you watch, Sophie makes a phone call. 10 minutes later, 2 of her servants arrive to remove the unconscious girl sprawled on your sofa. You clearly need my help. It won't happen tonight, but let me see if I can resolve your stalker problem for real. You're left to wonder what Sophie meant by that as she leaves her haven. I guess I really didn't want it. How was I supposed to know she was the client of the moon? Do they have, like, client of the moon tattoos? You arrive at the leech pit, finding it less rowdy than the last time. The bar is still packed, but the dance floor is empty tonight. Instead, the old crackling speakers are playing music that would probably sound like noise even on high-end hardware. Mia is nowhere to be seen, but you do remember she requested that you ask for her at the bar. You approach the bar as the bartender finishes pouring a beer for an older guy in a faded, fraying Iron Maiden t-shirt. She turns to you. What can I get you? I was told that someone might leave a message for me at the bar. Ring a bell? Maybe. She looks you up and down, and a spark of recollection shines in her eye. Oh yeah, that's right. She takes a well-worn book from behind the counter, some kind of YA vampire novel, and flips through it. She produces a piece of paper from between the book's pages and passes it to you. She told me you'd be interested in reading this. You find a relatively quiet corner and take a look at the note. T wants to meet you. I'll arrange it, but you need to prove you're trustworthy. Look around the leech pit for a guy named Bruce. Buff dude, tattoo sleeve on his right arm. I'm 9% sure he's somebody's retainer, sent here to spy on us by the can. Get me the name of his master and write it on this card, then return it to the bar. It doesn't take you long to locate this Bruce guy. He sits alone in a corner, 2 beer glasses already empty on his table. You take a moment to consider your approach. Presence. The man immediately notices you, but doesn't move from his spot. The other seats are empty. When you focus the blood to boost your attractiveness, it's not just Bruce who notices. He's into you. So are the other people, doing double takes as they pass your table. Hey, you. Have I seen you before? I don't think so. It's my first night here. I'm lucky I'm here tonight then. I know you're here because somebody asked you to spy on the place. It'd make me really happy if you gave me their name. What do you mean? What, you mean Sam? He catches himself, realizes what you're doing. His eyes dart over your shoulder. You thought you had him cornered, but he suddenly leaps over the table in one smooth move and dashes through the sparse crowd. You catch up to him outside. He's bolting all right. Celerity. Throwing caution to the wind, you focus your blood and give chase after Bruce. He might be faster than a human, but his abilities are a fraction of yours. He dashes into a nearby alley and you follow suit. Before he can jump the fence, you tackle him to the ground. A short brawl later, you are standing a few meters apart, Bruce eyeing you with a hatred. Oh, do I want to beat him? I mean, it's been effective so far. Ah, let's beat him. Why not? You clash again, but this time you're not pulling any punches. Bruce's ribs crack. You juicefully hit his shoulder, break a few of his teeth. When you're done with him, he's a mess. Please. Fuck. No more, man. Please. Ready to talk? Samira. Her name is Samira, okay? Just no more, please. You leave him there, battered and alone. You should have talked when you had the chance. Or at least that's what you're telling yourself as you make your way back to the leech pit. Time to leave something for Mia. You borrow a pen from the bar and flip Mia's note to the other side. Samira. You put the name down on the piece of paper, hoping you got it right. You heard it before, you think. That night at Elysium when the Anarch got executed. Yeah, that's it. It was the woman the prince talked to. She was pretty grim. He was hoping it was all worth it and won't come back to bite you in the ass. You pass the piece of paper to the bartender. She sticks it back in the same book. Hold on 1 second. She wanted me to pass something on to you. She produces a cell phone from behind the counter. It's ancient, at least 15 years out of date. Oh, right, and this. An old charger for the piece of junk in your hand. You really did think of everything. She said she'll be in touch. It takes you a moment to remind yourself how to operate this thing, and you find that its phone book is blank. Excuse me. There's no Wi-Fi connectivity and no saved messages. It's got a version of Snake, though. It's a Nokia. The bartender is already over the other end of her domain, taking orders from patrons. With your Anarch contact nowhere in sight, you decide to move on for the night. Hopefully, your educated guess, based on the scraps of info you've collected, will be enough for Mia to call you. You've had enough of Adelaide Davis. It's time to head for Elysium and confront her with Sophie by your side. Oh, really? Okay, why not? Visiting Elysium with Sophie is always a humbling experience. She's connected, well-known, important. You're a nobody. You've always known this, of course, but it's especially apparent when you arrive with her. Everyone notices her, and she drinks it in like it's her birthright. That's Adelaide Davis. Let's go say hello. You spot the woman Sophie's referring to. Adelaide, your stalker. Intense, disheveled, young-looking. A Malkavian, if you've understood correctly. As you approach, Adelaide smiles at you, with a darting look of distaste towards Sophie. Don't worry, I don't judge people by the company they keep. That's sweet of you, darling. Let me say this straight. You can't keep doing what you've been doing. You have to leave my poor ward alone. Adelaide looks from Sophie to you and giggles. The sound must be rare in Elysium because it makes people glance towards you. I know she's making you do this. Don't worry. We'll be together again later. Listen, Adelaide, I already have someone. I have a lover. Adelaide laughs delightfully. Don't worry. I'm not old-fashioned. I'll be happy to meet your lover. I'm sure they're as wonderful as you are. I'm too old-fashioned for a threesome. That's a shame. I can wait. We're immortals. The years pass, but the feelings we have for each other are precious. You should know that I'll always be there, somewhere, invisible in the night. Sophie chuckles as Adelaide walks away. I suppose that went as well as could be expected. It seems you have a guardian angel. Have fun. As Sophie steps away to chat with her friends, you feel lonely. Surrounded by kindred, you're not sure anyone can really help you navigate this bizarre social environment. Really? That was the... Okay. A piece of paper is sticking out of your mailbox. It's a computer printout, a note, and a screenshot from Google Maps. It reads, "Meet me at the indicated spot tomorrow at 10 p.m. I'll pick you up, and we'll take it from there." No signature. The place marked on the map is the lookout point near Pier 1, just next to the Brooklyn Bridge. You check the phone that Mia passed to you. No new messages, no missed calls. It's all a bit fishy, but there's only one way to find out who addressed this to you. Looks like tomorrow evening has been planned out for you. You go downstairs as soon as you wake up. One more glance at the phone, but no news from Mia. You take the car down to Brooklyn, park on Front Street, and approach the meeting spot cautiously. A figure of about Mia's size is standing there, dressed in an oversized jacket and looking out towards Manhattan. As you approach, you can hear her muttering something. It is true, but I don't think it's true. If I don't think it's true, then it cannot be true. And if it cannot be true, then... Hey, meeting somebody here tonight. I suppose that would be you. The woman turns around. It's not Mia. Whoever it is, you have never seen her before. She looks perfectly plain and unmemorable. Why, yes, it's me. We're meeting now. You're meeting me. I'm meeting you. Such a joyous occasion. You turn around. 3 men, all of them burly and threatening, approach you. One of them takes the lead. So, you got the message. Cut the crap. What's this about? We're taking a trip, friend. The boss wants to meet you. You mean Torque? What? You gotta be shitting me. Torque ain't the boss of jack shit. I mean Boss Callahan, you dumbass. I suggest you get a move on. We got places to be. The voice of the woman keeps creeping into your consciousness, the litany of gibberish ever present throughout this entire conversation. The man cracks his knuckles. Or we can do it the hard way. Oh, sure. Yeah, okay, I'll go with you. Smart. It leads you down the pier and onto the motorboat. The engine starts. Put this on. He points to a cloth sack. One of the guys is holding you down. The woman is still there, whispering to herself. Somehow you hear her voice clearly in your head. It becomes a nagging suggestion to put the sack over your head. You don't really want to do it, but your hands go through the motions all the same. It takes 15 minutes or so to reach your destination, you think. The engine dies down, and you're led on shore, and then further up an incline and through some overgrowth. 10 more minutes of walking, maybe, until a deep voice reaches your ears. Vincent, my dear boy, why the hood over our guest's face? Oh, boss, I thought... No, that will not do. How many times do I have to repeat myself, Vincent? You don't have to think. You have to listen and do what you're told, yes? Yes, boss. God, take that ridiculous sack off their head, will you? The hood comes off. The owner of the deep voice is a curious sight. Dressed in what can only be described as Victorian clothing, with a monocle and graying red hair. Is this Callahan? Apologies for Vincent's unacceptable behavior. He can be a little thick sometimes. Isn't that right, Vincent? Yeah, boss. Sometime. A little. I believe you already know who I am. The boss Callahan. Right you are. And I'm guessing you know my role in the city. I represent the Anarch movement. While you... I'm not quite sure what you represent. I have invited you here to find out. Now, let me make myself perfectly clear. I am disappointed in you, truly disappointed. But I arranged this meeting to allow you to make amends. First, though, I have to make sure you understand what your infraction was. So, do you know why you're here? This is because I wanted to meet with Torque? Ah, yes, you're not that stupid. So that's a nice change of pace. Torque is the reason you're here. Or that little angry stump of his, I'm told, yes? Mia? Oh, how I'd love to get my hands on her gaunt neck and wring it until it breaks. But see, I'm a statesman, and that's not the prudent thing to do. No, indeed. The prudent thing to do is to tolerate both her and that blasted ebony-skinned mentor of hers. Look at what the world has become these nights. Here I am, lambasting a black man and a woman in front of a whelp of Asian descent. My papa, rest his soul, would not believe it. Finished with your disgusting rant? Oh, fledgling, you have no idea who you're messing with. He looks at you with rage in his eyes, and you feel insignificant and vulnerable. An irrational fear takes over you. You cannot speak up against this man again. You just can't. He's too terrifying. Now that I have your full attention, I will request something from you, and you will obey me to the letter. But that comes later. First, you will answer a few questions. First one of which, who pointed you to Mia? Nobody. It was my idea. Oh, really? And what was your intention behind the meeting? I really needed her help with something. Oh, come now. You'll have to be more specific than that. I need to know exactly what it was that you discussed. I just wanted to learn about the Anarchs, so I asked her about the movement. Oh, child, you should have come to me then. I am the Anarch movement in New York City, and nobody makes a secret out of it. You bet on the wrong horse. Or you bet on the wrong horse, and I'm sure you'll learn. See, that wasn't hard now, was it? Of course, I can't be sure how much of what you told me was true, or how much of it was worth it, about as much as yesternight's horseshit. But I'll find out. I always do. And when I do, we'll have another one of these nice talks. And maybe, just maybe, you'll avoid this upcoming unpleasant episode next time. He gives Vincent a sign, and the burly man starts hitting you all over. You feel teeth, ribs, and fingers break. Your foot is mangled under Vince's boot. Your shoulder dislocated, your nose wrecked. That's enough, Vincent. Leave them be. He snaps his fingers in front of your face a few times and checks if you can focus on his face. You can, but barely. I'm a man of principle. Another night I would perhaps put you in a casket, dip it in concrete, and dump it into the Hudson. Favorite of mine during the Roaring Twenties. It's been a while. But, like I mentioned before, I am nothing but prudent, and so the interests of this city's kindred must come before my own needs and wants. I will therefore let you continue your existence. Here's what I require in return for this boon. You are forbidden to meet Torque. I will keep an eye on you, on him. If you want a place with the Anarchs, you go through me, and only me. Got it? You have to understand, what I made my associates do to you tonight was just business. We can still work out a mutually beneficial relationship. In fact, it's either that or your final death. Time to go, Vincent. Take the boat back. Leave the fletching here. I think they will have a lot to think about. Sure thing, boss. Pleasure making your acquaintance. Callahan walks away, as do Vince and his band of thugs. You lie on the ground for a while longer, feeling the blood slowly putting your body back together, your hunger growling. You can hear the beast calling, for sustenance, for safety, for revenge, a distant but pronounced third desire. It's not until you've mended yourself enough to appear more as a mugging victim than an impossibly mangled walking cadaver that you hail a passing taxi, and head back to your haven. You give the driver your address and pass out. The darkness greets you. Some time passes, you think. You feel somebody shaking you. You open your eyes. It's the driver. You think he's asking you if you're all right. His words change to a muffled shout. He goes silent. You think he tastes great. As great as a tired caffeine, pumpy taxi driver with high cholesterol can taste. Warm blood pours down your throat and flows to your limbs, mending them. He's growing cold, but you still do not have control. You are still observing, not acting. Your body is not yours. The beast is in charge. That's enough. No, it's not. I said that's enough. It will never be enough. Enough! You break away from the man. He's dazed but conscious. He groggily says something about feeling tired. You leave the money on the driver's seat and let him rest in the back. The four familiar walls of your haven are a blessing. The beast inside you keeps nagging, but you have reined it in tonight. No small feat, given your state. And you're still weak. You're still not quite mended. You need to rest. Tomorrow you will have to feed again. Tomorrow you will have to consider your next move. Callahan is not the kind of man who quits, but tonight you rest. No, I have to rest, okay. Waking up tonight feels different for two reasons. For one, you are pleasantly surprised that your body mended reasonably well while you were resting. It comes with a caveat, though. The hunger you feel is pronounced, the beast like a black dog on the edge of your vision, following you. But what is truly remarkable is waking up to the tune of an old cell phone ringtone. An unknown number is calling the phone you got from Mia. You pick it up. Kept that old thing charged after all, huh? You all right? Yeah, for the most part. Cool. So, got some news for you. Torque has agreed to meet you. There's a pub in the Bronx. Solids and Stripes. Be there tonight. Two things. No drinking on the premises, so if you want to grab a snack, do it before setting foot in the borough. And this is an exclusively no-power meeting. We'll be rubbing shoulders with commoners the whole evening. And also, we don't trust you, so keep it casual or you'll blow it. Anything you'd like to add? Yeah, I met Callahan yesterday. He kicked my ass and forbid me from meeting Torque. Not sure I should be there tonight. Silence on the line. Fuck. More silence. I can't promise you any protection on your way there or back, but at the pub you'll be in Torque's domain. For all his posturing, Callahan doesn't have the balls to strike Torque directly. We'll post additional lookouts on watch. That's the best I can do. If Callahan got under your skin, I get it. I was in that spot once or twice too. All I gotta say is, the risk is worth it. If you don't show tonight, I won't blame you, but it's a one-time offer only. You gotta hedge your bets. Just don't do anything stupid. You meet with us tonight, it better be in good faith. She ends the call. First things first, you take the subway to New York, or York Street station, and walk to Front Street. Retrieve your car and weigh your options while driving back to your haven. I guess I gotta feed. You've been doing this for a good few nights. You're getting a feel for it. You're learning what kind of predator you are and what kinds of blood you crave. You're so caught up in yesterday's problems and in this cloak and dagger debacle you're now part of that the hunt feels almost automatic and casual tonight. A fragment of you surrenders control. Just minutes after you find your victim, coax them, and drink from them, you find you've forgotten their face and how they were dressed. It only hits you once you look at yourself in your car rearview mirror. This was wrong. You can't let this become the norm. You hurt somebody, a human being. You're a monster. A monster. You need to stay mindful of this. You're a monster, but unless you let yourself off the hook, you can hold onto your humanity and not let yourself slide down the spiral. Instead of clearing your mind, this clouded it further, and you are still no closer to a decision. Feels hopeless. Callahan knows you'll be seeking Torque out. Somebody left that note in your apartment, so they know where you spend your days. It's all too risky. Oh no, I don't want to do that. The hell? Okay. God damn it. I didn't read that right. How much of that we're gonna have to replay? I thought I was reading meet with her, not tell Sophie you're not gonna meet with her. That's dumb. Not paying attention. Normally I'd say not enough coffee, but this is like 6 shots of espresso. I would have made it 8, but wouldn't fit in the cup. Well, and also have, milk in it. Great, yeah. Sophie's not at home when you arrive. You wait for her impatiently, all the while considering whether this is the best course of action. When she does come in a good hour after you arrive, she's all smiles and warm. Good evening. How's your task going? You have something for me, perhaps? Sophie, things got complicated. I don't want to meet with Torque. Warm atmosphere immediately grows colder, as does Sophie's demeanor. Yeah, I didn't mean to do it. Well, I thought I made a clear request of you. What do you mean you don't want to meet him? Listen, Callahan's group grabbed me yesterday and forced me to meet him. He was very clear that I cannot be seen talking to Torque or he'll have me killed. Oh. Something like pity appears in her eyes for just a moment. She looks at you, disappointed and sad. Then her features sharpen. I understand your concern. Nevertheless, I would ask you to continue, even if it's risky. Well, I don't want to say that. See, none of these are good choices. Why don't you protect me? Well, I don't want to say that. I guess the first one. You really don't care about me, do you? Am I that expendable to you? This is not a matter of you being expendable or not. This is about what needs to be done. You do not understand how much depends on you making contact with Torque, and how important it is that I don't do it in person. It brings me no joy to remind you, but I still hold the right of destruction over you. If I have to call on it to make you do my bidding, I will. I thought we had an understanding. I thought we were developing a partnership here. I did as well. I was under the impression you agreed to follow my request. You were doing so well, too. Suddenly, Sophie's demeanor changes entirely. Although her features do not shift, she is now a source of fear for you. She is grim, determined, and seems utterly impossible to negotiate with. You will leave now, and go back to the task at hand. You will not return until you have set up the meeting. Do I make myself clear? Yes, Sophie. Good. And Eric, do it quickly. Time is running out. If it does, you will be of no more use to me. That final threat hits hard. You take your leave quickly, eager to get away from Sophie's terrifying presence. You relax a bit in the car, but are still certain that you must obey her. It's that or your life. Yeah, see, I really don't want to make that decision. I just misread the... I just misread the first choice. It's punishing me for not reading correctly. Go to the meeting. Dangerous or not, you have to... in fact, I'm wondering why the first choice is wuss out. Oh, well, whatever. Dangerous or not, you have to make the trip to the Bronx and meet with Torque. No detours. Let's just get it over with. You take some basic precautions as you enter Torque's turf. You park a few streets over from where the pub is and walk towards it while keeping an eye out for anyone suspicious. That kindred, for the most part, look no different than regular people, making things complicated, of course. If you're being followed or watched, it's going to be hard to tell. You reach the pub, shoot a final glance around, there's nobody suspicious around you as far as you can see, and open the door. The smell of cigarettes is overwhelming. The whole place has an aura about it, a constant fog hanging right under the ceiling. The lethargic fans do nothing to disperse it. The constant crack of billiard balls and clinking of glasses tells you all you need to know about the clientele. Not a very vampiric place at all. You're wondering if you got the address right. You apparently did. Mia's here. She motions you over to one of the few tables around. Took your sweet time to get here. What, got cold feet? Never mind. Anyone follow you? Not that I know of. Fair enough. Before I introduce you, there's some outstanding business to discuss. I appreciate the help with getting that name out of Bruce. It's going to be a tough nut to crack, his master. She's one of the lawmen. Times were they'd sooner align with us than the Cam. Anyway, this isn't the night for a history lesson. Torque's been waiting for you. He's been impressed by your work so far. Here's your chance to shine. Don't blow it. You walk towards one of the tables. A guy in a coat and hat leans over to take his shot. He's way ahead of his competition. The table is clear of his balls, save for the 8-ball in a tricky position. Hey, they're here. Be with you in just a moment. The hit is fast, precise, and sends the black ball exactly where its player wanted it. His opponent lets out a frustrated sigh. That's that. I believe that's 150 American dollars, Joey. You want to pay up now or up the stakes again? The disgruntled man accepts his defeat and pays up, then declares he's going to grab another beer. To the victor go the spoils. Thank you kindly. He turns his full attention to you. The man is good-looking, if somewhat gaunt and intense. His eyes especially seem to pierce right through to your core, but not in an unpleasant way. The name's Torque. I believe you're Eric, Sophie Langley's new plaything. Is that right? That's right. Yeah, Mia told me as much. Forgive my being real with you right off the bat, but I'd like to know who it is I'm dealing with. So here's something that I've been scratching my head about. If you would Langley, and Langley's Cam through and through, I'm told, what is it you've come to accomplish here tonight? Sophie Langley wants to meet with you. Don't ask why. She didn't tell me. She just said it has something to do with gathering allies against Boss Callahan. I'm here to arrange that meeting. Fuck? I knew nothing about this. T, they lied to me. Mia's furious. She's looking at the pool cue and at you as if she was figuring out the best combination for the two. It's fine. I appreciate the honesty. You weren't straight with my second in command. That I don't appreciate. Well, well, well. Ain't that an interesting proposition? You can't be seriously thinking about meeting with Langley. She's hardline Cam. It's a trap. It must be. It just might be. It just might. He looks at you, pierces you with his unnaturally keen eyes. He's about to say something when a door opens at the back of the room. Hey, Torque, you, got a guest. You're in the back. Mia, why don't you be a dear and keep our new friend company? I'll see what the commotion is. Sure thing. Torque tips his hat to you and walks to the back, joining the man who called for him. Mia glowers at you, this time weighing on one of the pool balls in her hand. She looks like she has half a mind to chuck it at your face. Yeah, be quite happy with yourself bluffing your way in here. It might have started as a task for Sophie, but I'm glad I got to meet you and Torque. Don't hold it against me. No, I'm totally gonna hold it against you. And for a while, you made me look like a chump in front of Torque. Here I was, beginning to think you might make a good addition to our little family. There's a whole lot of trust you'll have to regain before that happens now. Torque appears from a door at the back and calls across the room. Yo, Mia, can I grab you for a second? Eric, get over here too. You go to the back room. It's basically a storage area with a single wooden desk. It's pretty cramped, especially considering there's 5 other people in there with you. Torque ushers you in and closes the door behind you and Mia. 2 burly dudes are holding somebody down. A familiar voice reaches your ears. Motherfuckers, you gotta pay for this, you hear me? The boss is gonna fuck you up so bad, you'll have no idea. Have you the doubtful pleasure of meeting Mr. Sabruti before, Eric? Yeah, we met yesterday. You're fucked. You're so fucked you don't even know it. You stupid piece of shit. I should have ended you yesterday. The boss told you to stay away. You should have listened. That's a story and a half, ain't it? Vince, calm down now, and tell me how many of your guys are still out there on my turf. Fuck yourself. You're done. The boss will know this stupid piece of shit fledgling came here. He knows they're with Langley. You know what that means, Torque. No, I don't. What does it mean, Vince? Now the boss can wipe you out. He'll just say you're sucking Langley's tits and all those buddies of yours? Gone. You're done, Torque. Well, now, if that's the case, I guess ridding New York City of your toady ass won't make things any worse, will it? Actually, there's an idea. Vince mentioned that he beat you up yesterday. Did I hear that right, Eric? You want to repay the favor? Gladly. Go right ahead. Oh, sake, I'm going to hurt him. You hit Vince twice. He's chuckling in the beginning, but you focus your blood for some extra oomph and keep hitting. Again, more, until he stops laughing. He's bruised, battered, and broken. The 2 Anarch dudes let go of him, and you kick him somewhere while he's on the floor. You only stop when you hear Torque's voice. Enough's enough, Eric. He takes an old pool cue and breaks it over his knee. Stake him and take him downstairs. Let's keep Callahan guessing about what happened to his favorite puppy. Mia takes the sharp piece of wood and jams it into Vince's chest. His features grow slack, his entire body inert. He doesn't even give out a yelp. The other 2 Anarchs take him out of the room. As entertaining as that was, I think Vince, in his unmatched wisdom, shared more than Callahan would hope for. This changes things. Ever heard about Operation Lights Out, Eric? It was a second Inquisition effort here in New York. A single night of raids at a magnitude never seen before, or since. The Ivory Tower got away with just a few losses here and there. No major players were hit. They managed to find safe spots and stay out of the eye of the shitstorm. Us, though? We got hit hard, all over town. Havens were rooted out, entire coteries and safe houses gone, just like that. Nobody saw it coming. I barely got out in one piece. Mia looks at him with concern and puts a hand on his arm. He shrugs it off, gently but surely. Others, like my child Barb, or Mia's sire, extinguished. But you know who got out without a scratch? Callahan. We've thought about it for the past few years. How is it that Big B managed to accuse himself from the Staten Island Museum where we used to meet, just before vans full of guys in body armor show up? How is it that, as my baby is burning up after being shot with incendiary rounds, I also meet Doug Callahan running with his tail between his legs, pushing fledglings like you in the path of the SI? We think the bastard knew what was coming, and he set us up. Not just us. Some of our brothers and sisters who got hit had some of the lowest profiles in the city's lick population. Moral of the story? Callahan's an opportunistic motherfucker, and if even his thickest followers suggest he's going to sell me out, then that's what he's going to do, as sure as the sun rises. He pauses for a moment, and you see him reach a decision. He said something about Langley having an offer for me. It might be your fault, in part, that I'm at this juncture, but now it's going to be as good as... But now it's going to be as good a time as any to listen to what she has to say. I don't think that's wise, T. Well, what would you have me do, then? You said it yourself. It's all this fledgling's fault. They brought this on us, so let's use them as a bargaining chip. Callahan wants them. Langley needs them. They're valuable. No, you're wrong. Just a pawn. That's why Sophie sent me here. Plausible deniability and all that. I'm expendable. The realization that you just summarized the entirety of the last 2 weeks or so hits you hard, but if there was a moment to be honest with yourself, it's now. Fuck. The man puts his hand on Mia's shoulder. She calms down a bit. We're afraid, Eric. But then, what else is new? It's a paradox, being who we are. The hunter one night, the hunted another. Masters of the night, slaves the dawn. A duality for everything. Mia, I understand your concern, and I need you to trust me like you did before. This is my call and my responsibility. You can give me shit about it later, like I'm sure you will. Count on it. He smiles and takes on a no bullshit look and points at you. 3 conditions. First, you come pick me up, personally, and bring me to the meeting spot. Anything goes sideways, it's your ass. Second, Mia's coming with me. No 2 ways about it. 8 balls in the meeting. The 2 of you, the 2 of us. Nobody else. And third, the meeting's in public. Downtown, some spot frequented by mortals. We see you take us anywhere fishy, we check out and fuck you up as a message to Langley. I count on it not coming to that, though. You seem likable enough. The cam hasn't gotten its talons in you yet. Keep it up and maybe you'll come to the same conclusion we did in your own time. I'll make sure to repeat your conditions to Sophie. You do that. Best be on your way. Ask for me here when you need me. The bartender knows how to get in touch. Just ask him to put the owner on the line. Mia walks you to the door and accompanies you to your car. Listen, about what I said before. Save it. She freezes for a second, then shrugs her shoulders. Your call. See ya. She starts walking back to the bar as you start the engine and head back to Sophie's apartment. Time to give Sophie the news. The fear you felt when you left the apartment might not be there anymore, but the atmosphere is still frigid when Sophie addresses you upon entering. Tell me you have something for me. You nod. She brightens up. Just a little. More like sun rays glistening on frost than the radiance you know she's capable of. Well, let's hear it. What did Torque agree to? You relay the Anarch leader's conditions. You are to pick him and Mia up. The meeting should only include the 4 of you, and it should be held in a public space. Fine. I would ask that you pick them up tomorrow. How about Hudson Yards, the top of the vessel? Meet me there after midnight. I'll be waiting for you. But do try to be on time. I won't let you down. That's what I like to hear. She smiles. You feel momentarily blessed. I'm counting on you, Eric. The final puzzle piece is about to find its way to its destination. After that, we all get our just reward. You, me, the Camarilla, even the Anarchs. After a fashion. Use the rest of this night well and take a good rest. We are but a day's sleep away from shaking the city awake. You know what to expect when you return to the small bookstore serving as Agathon's haven. A cacophony of occult imagery assaults you from the book covers displayed on the window, but under the fake facade there's something real. This time, the Buddhas and the satanic Bibles at the storefront seem almost funny, or perhaps you've just started to tune into the dry humor of these Tremere. Just as you're about to ring the doorbell, the door opens and Agathon storms out. You step aside just in time to avoid having him stumble into you. Eric, what are you doing here? Look, came to help you, like last time. Okay, fine, you're right. Follow me. As he turns to go, Agathon almost looks pleased that you're here. Agathon walks to his car with you in tow. It didn't occur to you last time, but it's a surprisingly pedestrian vehicle, an aging mid-sized family sedan. Can you imagine what it would look like with a baby seat in the back? Opening the door on the driver's side, Agathon notices your look. Laugh all you want, but it's inconspicuous and practical. You sit in the car, and Agathon starts driving in his usual careful style. At least you'll never be stopped by traffic cops. It seems Agathon is not interested in small talk. You decide that it's best to let Agathon drive you in peace. Agathon is very comfortable driving in silence. You look out the window, wondering at the ordinary lives of the people you pass by. Suddenly, Agathon snaps you out of your reverie. Let me ask you something, Eric. Did you enjoy the hunt? Did I? Yes, of course. I thought all kindred did. I mean, maybe I feel guilty sometimes, but it's such a rush. Not all kindred enjoy it, but you're right, most do. There's something melancholy in Agathon's voice that you can't quite parse. You exit Manhattan over the Brooklyn Bridge and soon reach the site of the nightclub that seems to be your destination. It's on the riverfront, a converted former warehouse. With a start, you recognize the place, the club where fate lashed its cold, grubby hands onto your soul. You wanted to party, but instead you became a monster. How's that for a hangover? After Agathon parks the car, it's time for you to enter the nightclub. You glance at the Tremere, evaluating him. It's obvious this is not his kind of place. There's a good chance the research notes are here. Let's not waste any time. Excellent. There's a line into the club. It looks like a popular night, even if, based on the crowd, this is not exactly a place for supermodels and celebrities. You walk up to the man at the door and smile. Hey, you remember me, right? Mind if we go in? The bouncer looks at you, taken in by your supernatural charisma. It doesn't matter whether he really remembers you or not. Sure, go right in. Have a great night. You walk into the club, ignoring all the people standing in line. The music beats down on you, bringing with it memories of a human existence, the first time you went dancing with friends, when you flirted with someone on the dance floor. This time is different. You're a predator and everyone around you is prey. Tightly packed, twitching sacks of blood and tissue. You sense the emotions all around you. Blood tinted with happiness, lust, rage, jealousy, love. A buffet of sensations. Focus. Keep an eye out for trouble while I look for what we came to find. You nod and follow Agathon through the throng, trying to ignore all the warmth, flesh, and circulating blood around you. Eyes on the prize. You came here to help Agathon, and that's what you'll do. Agathon wades through the dancing people with purpose, but you have no idea how he is searching for the missing research notes. Perhaps he's using the enhanced senses of a vampire or some esoteric sorcery. At least he seems to know what he's doing. Juno. You swerve to avoid a drunken man who is just about to spill beer onto you, and you see what Agathon is looking for. A young woman, intense, purposeful, a little out of place at the nightclub, just like you and Agathon. Let me guess, she's after your research notes too. They're not my research notes, but yes. The woman, Juno, elbows a drunken man out of her way and points a finger at Agathon's face. Agathon, you traitor! Don't you dare stand between me and what's mine. You look at the woman in surprise. Her appearance stands in contrast with the anger in her words. Juno, you know Aisling will not let you leave with the notes. Perhaps she won't let you leave at all. Juno pulls close to Agathon's face and stage whispers loudly enough for you to hear her over the music. You're still so brainwashed that you care what Aisling fucking Sturbridge wants? I'm done jumping through her hoops. I don't know what I saw in you, Agathon. You're such a lapdog. Look, are we sure you want to talk about this all in the middle of the dance floor? Do I look like I care about the fucking masquerade? You look at Juno in genuine shock. From Sophie, you've understood that the masquerade is universal among the kindred. Juno, you don't mean that. You're not suicidal. Fucking watch me. Juno, please. Juno steps back, suddenly cold. Ignoring the people dancing all around, she stares hard at Agathon. The past is the past. The traditions are dead to me. You won't stop me, Agathon. I'll make sure of that here and now. You know I have the power. No, Juno, please. Agathon sounds panicked. He's not worried about his own survival, but of the possibility that Juno is going to unleash a genuine masquerade breach. Look around you. We're in a crowd of humans. If you start something here, it'll be a masquerade breach. Catching on, Agathon joins in to support your argument. If you break the masquerade, it won't be just Aisling, Sturbridge, who has it in for you. It'll be Kadir. Juno looks hesitant, worried. After a moment, she backs away. Right, you assholes. Play it cool. She slides into the dancing crowd. You see her move amidst the people, but it doesn't look like she'll start a fight. Give me a few seconds. I'll verify the notes are here or not. You idle among the dancers, and Agathon prowls clumsily, out of place in the throng. Finally, he comes back to you. They were here, but not anymore. The ritual I performed is very reliable. We can go. Juno will probably waste some time trying to find the notes here, and that'll give us an edge. You leave the nightclub. Outside, you walk to Agathon's car and drive back over the Brooklyn Bridge to Manhattan, heading for Agathon's haven. Juno mentioned some very personal things. I trust your discretion in not discussing those things with Aisling. Your love life is your business. Thank you. After a while, you reach Agathon's haven and he parks the car. You walk to the occult bookstore and Agathon invites you inside. The smell of incense assaults you as before, making you grateful you don't have to breathe. You follow Agathon upstairs to find Aisling's Sturbridge in an armchair reading an old book. She puts a bookmark in place as you come in. You were successful, I hope? No, I'm sorry. The notes were there at some point, but not anymore. That's a shame. I hope you don't run out of time. How did Sophie's little protege do? Agathon turns to look at you. Well, surprisingly well. That's a surprise. I'll have to compliment Sophie on her choice. We met Juno. Unfortunately, she couldn't find the notes either. That's interesting. The High Regent turns to look at you. What was your impression of Juno, fledgling? She's very driven, motivated. I don't think she'll desist easily. You're probably right. Juno could have made a great member of our house in different circumstances. Instead, she became a headache. You'll understand if you have a childer of your own some night, fledgling. Anyway, I have some things to discuss with Agathon. Run along now. You leave the occult bookstore, the cheesy mystical music still in your ears as you walk away. You wonder about what happened with Juno. Why is she so anxious to leave her clan? Can she really do that? Can you leave Sophie's service if you wanted to? I mean, probably not. Might be a bad idea if we tried. You wake up. This is not your haven. It's a cramped space. You try to move your arms and find that they are tied to your body. You can barely bend your legs. When you try to stretch your neck, you hit a cold ceiling. You can't quite believe it, but this is a coffin, or something close to it. It vibrates slightly, but you can't hear any sounds coming from outside. It's entirely dark. Potence. You focus and divert your blood to boost your physical prowess. The way you imagine it, you're going to be Superman punching the lid off this thing. You kick it with all your strength, but it only makes a dent. Hey, it's a start. You keep kicking. With each hit, you make the dent bigger. You manage to make a small crack in the very bottom of the container. A bit of light and sound come in. The crackle of a radio, the hum of a car's engine, a nervous male voice. Subject is breaking containment. Please advise. A response you don't quite catch. The brakes of the car. An impact jostles your container about. Keep kicking. Keep wrestling out of your prison. The car door opens violently. You hear a gun being cocked. A panicked scream. Operation compromised. Engaging blank bodies. Shots. A struggle. Silence. The lid comes off. What the? Well, I'll be damned. The shifty fucker delivered the goods. Do we have them? We gotta scram and fast. Follow us. Seeing their faces is surprising, even more so in these circumstances. However, you realize the immediate danger and follow your companions out of the car and down the street in North Bronx. The van has crashed into another car. A familiar face, that of Kaiser's ghoul, Jackie, stumbles out of the wrecked sedan and slinks away into the darkness before you can call after him. The three of you jog away towards the line of trees and take shelter under some branches, just as you hear a chopper approaching. Its searchlight illuminates the wrecked van and moves towards you. Lay low. D'Angelo does his disappearing trick and vanishes from sight. You look to Agathon, who seems to be fiddling with a pocket mirror. He breaks it and suddenly disappears from sight. You're left alone with just seconds to make your move before the spotlight finds you. Slowly dash deep into the park. You take off before the light can reach you. In just a single dash, you find a small overgrown mound beneath an old tree. You realize you didn't have to run that far. The searchlight passes through where you were standing just seconds ago, but doesn't actually reach much further into the park. The helicopter flies on, its searchlight frantically moving through the vicinity as your companions once again appear in your proximity. Nice job, kid. They seem to be moving on. Come on, before the SI fucks change their mind. Wait, a second in position? What do they have to do with anything? Wait here, both of you. Agathon, fill them in. I'll go scout ahead. Second Inquisition. They raided your haven, immobilized you, and were planning on taking you upstate to a secure facility. For further examination, I'm guessing. Kaiser let me know that you were in trouble. If they hit my haven, then what about Sophie? Is she safe? I spoke to the High Regent last night, and she'd have probably mentioned it if something happened to your patron. Hey, I saw Kaiser pull up. Come on, time to blow this joint. Kaiser's familiar car stops nearby, and the back door opens. Your allies usher you inside and join you. Being inside this mobile fortress never felt like a relief. Until now. Hey, fledgling. Miss me? Actually, yeah, I kinda did. Oh, that's so sweet. I hate to break it to you, but I didn't take a sudden liking to you. I'm here on business. On brand. You'd know a thing or two about that, wouldn't you, detective? You are here now only because I told your buddies that you were neck deep in shit. That van you were in? One-way ticket to Hurtville, Pennsylvania. I broke you out as a favor. Now you owe me. Big. I'm told I was picked up 2 nights ago. Why didn't I wake up earlier? The Inquisition aren't dumb. They broke into your place in the middle of the day and staked you as soon as they saw you. Bam. Paralyzed. Brought you to the cloisters and examined you a bit. If you're walking funny, that's why. Lucky for you, I had an inside man loosen the stake a bit before they packed you in. I have a good idea why the SI hit you, Eric. Not that there aren't tons of good reasons for it. It might be one of those, for instance. There might be one of these, for instance. The screens in Kaiser's car flicker, and each of them now show a short looped clip. It's you, getting into a fight. Feeding, using one of your powers. You haven't exactly kept a low profile, fledgling. I get it, you're new to this. You don't know better, yada yada yada. The fact is, the SI has tons of this stuff. Security camera footage, YouTube videos posted by onlookers, social media posts from victims, you name it. Like I said though, I don't think any one of these did you in. Slip-ups happen. Not to you though, right? I always wondered, how is it that you can drive a pompously ridiculous limo around New York City and not get caught? What's your secret? Body doubles? Decoy cars? Kaiser smiles, going for that anthropomorphic piranha look you saw a few times before. You do know what killed the cat, don't you, Mr. Finch? D'Angelo freezes and scratches his face, looking fiercely at the other Nosferatu. You notice that his hands are shaking. Well, do you? Stop shedding on the upholstery and answer, or should I use your given name too? Yeah, I know why the cat croaked. You would, wouldn't you? You've never seen D'Angelo serve anyone a death stare quite like the one he's shooting Kaiser now. Much as I enjoy tempering your overinflated ego, we're nearing our destination, so I think I'll move on. The reason I need you walking and talking, Eric, is to test a hypothesis of mine. For that, I need you to finish what you're tasked to do. The first thing is first. Here. He hands you a phone. The number has already been dialed. You hear the tone. Somebody picks up. Who is this? It's me, Sophie. Eric, are you okay? They're fine and dandy. Kaiser, what are you doing on this line? What do you think? It's my phone your protege is using, so keep it snappy. Operating a secure network ain't cheap. Come on, Eric, spit it out. Kaiser saved me from the Second Inquisition, Sophie. I only got out because of him. Their companions look at one another dejectedly. I sigh. That's what I feared. I believe I owe you an apology. I brought this on to you in a way. I'm sorry. Ah, now I've heard everything. Shut up, you scabrous, filthy piece of... Oh, I think we've got a connection issue. Hold up. Kaiser drops the call remotely, then waits about half a minute, after which he dials the number again without your input. Sophie picks it up again. Got it out of your system, you fucking diva. Yes. Good. Keep talking. Eric, the plan. We need to do it tonight. But if the Inquisition is involved and you broke out, they'll be looking for you, so we can't meet in public. I have a place in mind, but I can't give it to you while Kaiser's listening. And Nosferatu just smiles. Call this number from where you visited before last we spoke. I'll come pick you up. She hangs up. And that's that. Gotta tell you, kid, this entire conversation has my curiosity all right. I'm more interested in what our next move is. Your next move is keeping your asses seated in this luxury vehicle while a mutual acquaintance continues with their night. If my intel is worth a damn, your next stop is... Eric, is right? About here. The car comes to a stop and the door opens. Outside, you see the streets leading to Solids and Stripes, Torque's Pool, pub. Well, you need me to kick you out? What about D'Angelo and Agathon? What about them? They're staying right here, where they are, and we're going to have a little chat. After we're done, I'm sure they'll find their way back to their havens just fine. The clock is ticking. I think I know what Sophie wants to do tonight, and if I'm right, tonight's the last chance you've got. If you want to say bye to your buddies before you go, that's fine by me, but the schedule of yours is pretty hectic, so you better do it now and scram. You thank both of your companions for their assistance. Without them, you wouldn't be here now. Kaiser makes a gagging gesture and urges you to step out of the car. You turn around and make your way to the bar. The door closes behind you, and Kaiser's limo starts moving again. You hope your companions won't have to pay too high of a price for helping you. Solids and Stripes is pretty much abandoned tonight, with only the bartender and one blurry-eyed local watching an old Bogart movie on the bar's screen. But yeah, you asked to use the phone and call Sophie first. Yes. I'm at the bar. Good. We'll be there in 15 minutes. If Torque's not there, notify him. We need to move, and fast. She hangs up. You tell the bartender to notify Torque, just like the Anarch leader mentioned you should. The man makes a short call. You only hear somebody picking up, but no words exchanged. The owner's on his way right now. Can I get you anything while you're waiting? No thanks. The bartender nods politely and gets back to his business. Torque comes in some 10 minutes later without Mia. He tips his hat to you, puts a hand on the blurry-eyed patron's shoulder, and says something to him under his breath. They both laugh. Marty, how's the night going? Quite, sir. Just how you like it, huh? Well, Eric, I believe you wanted me here for a reason. Let's hear it. You're about to tell him what brought you here when the doors to the bar open and Sophie walks in, all splendor and charisma. The patron's eyes are now glued to her, and so are the bartender's. Torque isn't happy with the sight. Well, this isn't what we agreed on, Eric. Care to explain? Things got complicated. We had to improvise. Pleasure to make your acquaintance. I believe Eric already told you why I'm here. Not in any detail, and the circumstances of our meeting were supposed to be different. So, Miss Langley, tell me why I shouldn't ask you to leave and you kick out your protege while I'm at it. You will like what I have to say. Yeah, I've heard that line about 100 times, but 99 of those ended with somebody getting hurt. That's not something I'm in the mood for tonight. We're wasting time. There's a unique opportunity we should take advantage of, and we only have an hour or so to discuss it before it will be time to act. My driver is waiting outside. Wait a goddamn minute. First of all, I'm not going anywhere without Mia. That was the deal. Second, it's Eric who is supposed to do the driving, not your servant. Both serve me, so it's really it's a little difference. The circumstances changed and we had to adapt. Don't be stubborn. Foolishness does not suit you. I have a secure spot in mind where we can talk. I'll stop you right there. Torque is seething, but he's keeping a lid on his anger. His voice barely changes. My conditions were clear. The way I hear it, you want to break each one of them. I see no reason at all to agree to any of this. I believe I'll be staying put tonight. You have places to be, yes? Torque, you aren't throwing away the only chance you have at challenging Callahan. Don't be a fool. The lid comes off. Call me a fool one more time, woman, and that's not the only thing I'm going to be throwing. You're both acting like children. You need to put your differences aside and see the other's point of view. Both Sophie and Torque glare at you. No powers, just their personas are enough to make you feel like you prefer to be anywhere else but here. Who the fuck do you think you are? There's only one child here, Eric. You're their patron, Langley. What does that tell us? What are you implying, you insolent? Shots break the front windows and a flashbang goes off in the room, changing the bar into a space of white light and ringing noise. You feel somebody tugging at your back and are thrown behind the bar. More shots ring out. Bottles break. The TV shatter into pieces. The wooden bar splinters. Your sight comes back, but you think you've gone deaf because suddenly the room is silent. You see Torque beside you and Marty, the bartender, bleeding out on the floor. You look over at the bar. Sophie is standing there, her dress partially tattered, a visible hole in her leg. She is like the heart of a supernova, entrancing, unavoidable, beautiful, and terrifying. In front of her are 8 operatives looking like a private military force just standing there, paralyzed by Sophie's magnificence. Torque, you still there? Yeah. Would you kindly show your guests some hospitality? Sure thing. The Anarch is gone in the blink of an eye, and he reappears next to one of the soldiers. The armor-clad operative's head disappears in a puff of blood and bone. The same thing happens to the second, the third. You hear the radios go off on the other soldier's shoulders, a panicked voice pleading them to wake up. The fourth head pops, the fifth. They finally realize what's happening, but it's too late. The sixth man is beheaded by what you now see is just Torque's bare-fisted punch. Torque stops by the seventh man, rips something off his neck, and bites down. Sophie walks over to the last man and has him kneel in front of her before biting as well. On your right, a man in full body armor emerges from the back door, raising his assault rifle. What the fuck? Not thinking twice, you stand up and grab the soldier's head in your hands. Before he can react, you twist. The sickening sound of breaking bone is followed by the crumpling of his limp body. You see Torque holding a combat knife in his hand, ready to throw it. He catches your eye. Beat me to it. Langley. Sophie wipes her blood. Sophie wipes her mouth of blood and looks at him. That meeting still an item? Yes. I'll take it. Splendid. Torque walks behind the bar and checks on the bartender. You see the Anarch open his own wrist and feed blood to the wounded man. Drink up, Marty. It'll make you feel better. Get the hell out of here and wait for Mia. She's coming, and she'll know what to do. Torque? Yeah, coming. Take the back door. Eric, come on. You slink back into an alley behind the bar, leaving 10 bodies and 1 grievously wounded ghoul behind. Nobody stops you from circling around the block and finding your way to Sophie's car. Gregory drives away casually, as if this was just another late-night drive, and not the crowning of a desperate, complicated evening. Sophie brings you all to a luxurious apartment in Manhattan's Upper West Side. The way she explains it, the vampire who owned it left the city a few years ago and gave away spare keys to a few trusted compatriots. It's been used sporadically since. Fancy. You like it? It always felt too modern for my taste, but what's important is that it's secure. As long as nobody's followed your car here, or the fledgling, trouble follows this one wherever they go. Even if that's the case, we have very little time to conduct our business here anyway, and we'll be leaving soon, I hope. So let's begin. You look at Sophie, excited. Finally, you will learn what it is that you've been working towards for more than a week, and what it is that Kaiser wanted you to participate in. I have it on good authority that Boss Callahan is bloodbound to Prince Panhard. Torque sucks air in loudly. That's an accusation and a half there, Langley. Got proof? No, but we're just a boat ride away from getting it. What's that supposed to mean? Eric, the arrest that I procured from Kaiser was the meeting spot for Panhard and the Baron's regular sharing of blood. And other bloody fluids, if the rumors are true. Wait, Kaiser knew about this? Is there anything that insufferable clump of dead skin doesn't know in the city? He knows things, but only shares them if you pay. Neither the Prince nor Callahan can touch him. He's too useful. Kaiser said something about having plans for me, that he wanted me to make this meeting happen. That can't be good, right? That's an interesting point. I think Kaiser might be as interested in shaking up the status quo as we are. A chaotic landscape makes for a great market for him, unlike a static one. I don't like playing into that creep's hands, but at least now I know that I'm doing it. The devil you know and all that. What was the address he gave you? They meet regularly on Ellis Island. In fact, the next scheduled meeting starts in just about half an hour. Hot damn, I'm guessing you want to crash that meeting. Why? So you can see the proof for yourself, so that I can make sure, too. And so that I have an extra pair of eyes for Panhard to consider when I present to her my ultimatum. The Prince must abandon her seat and leave New York City. She can go wherever she pleases, but if she stays, the entire court will know, and the next prince might not look so favorably on her past. Dealing with Anarchs, especially so closely, is a punishable offense in the Camarilla, as I'm sure you've heard. So I did. Torque strokes his beard and looks intently at Sophie. What exactly are you trying to accomplish here? Say you remove Panhard, and I even remove Callahan, then what? Torque, did you ever wonder why Callahan is keeping you in check? Because I wondered why the Prince condemns Anarchs during her visits to Elysium, but doesn't allow the Ivory Tower to challenge you. She or they have engineered this status quo not for the good of their sex, but for private gain. They keep us all in line because it lets them hold onto power that much longer. And your goal is what? Make this Cold War turn hot? Not a great plan. You camis will get your butts kicked out of New York City in no time. And if you Anarchs manage to organize, which I doubt you will, at any rate, it's a risk I'm willing to take. I don't stand alone in this. The entire operation has been years in the making. Torque, I'm offering you a chance to square things with Callahan and level the playing field. If we get rid of these two, we can start on equal footing at the next stage of this dance macabre. Do I factor into this plan at all? Yes, we will be taking you with us to Ellis Island, both as another set of eyes to witness the Prince and Baron in the act, and as a bit of added security. I don't think Helene or Callahan would dare lay a finger on me, but they will not find me unprepared. You know, after all these years spent in Callahan's shadow and taking part in all the kindred dick-measuring contests, I should expect a ruse, some ploy to kill me in an out-of-the-way place. That's our inherent paranoia talking. My gut tells me it's time to get this show started. I do hope you have a boat nearby, Langley. Sophie smiles mischievously. Of course I do. It's waiting for us by the pier. Lead the way then. Moonlight's burning. The three of you leave the apartment and walk towards the pier. Nobody seems to be following you. You get on a small patrol boat and double time it through the Hudson's cold, dark waters. Out of all the places in New York City where the Prince and the Baron could meet, it's Ellis Island, a landmark with a dark past, a museum on one hand, a dilapidated piece of history on the other. You leave the boat and make your way to the southern part of the island, paying no heed to the renovated tourist attractions on the northern side. You expected some resistance, a night guard, a helicopter flying overhead, or maybe an NYPD patrol boat. Nothing. The island seems completely deserted. It's clear this set Sophie on edge. She's moving as quietly and subtly as ever, but you can see that she's eager to reach the particular house her intel pointed out. Torque is following suit, grimly determined, flashing his piercing gaze all over, still clearly uncertain that this isn't some kind of con. Finally, you see it, light coming from a window in one of the buildings at the edge of the island. The three of you slowly creep closer to the building and take a look inside the window. There it is, Callahan kneeling in front of the Prince, sucking on Panhard's wrist, both fully clothed, a small blessing. Torque makes his move, and before Sophie can stop him, he busts through the building's doors. It all happens very quickly. Torque grabs Callahan by the shoulders and throws him through the still open door. Callahan hits the ground hard. Torque appears on top of him and starts punching. You fucker, you piece of shit. Stop! The Prince's voice takes hold for just long enough to make Torque relent, which the Baron uses to the fullest. She shoves Torque off of himself and tries to bite down. Prince, pull off your lapdog. Langley, what is the meaning of this? The two Anarchs break apart, both wounded, but neither is quite done yet. They look at one another with pure hatred. Kill the bitch, Helene, but leave the fledgling to me. Right after I deal with this shit stain, I'm gonna... A shrill, unpleasant laugh fills the air. You know it who it belongs to. So entertaining. Truly. It feels almost a shame to break up the spectacle. But alas... Thomas? Who the fuck is this joker? Ah yes, I don't think we've met, though I did hear a lot about you, Mr. Torque. My name is Thomas Arturo, and I... Callahan uses this moment of uncertainty to strike. He's still too slow for Torque, who throws the boss onto the lawn where the two exchange blows again. Helene, if you'd be so kind as to ask your friend not to hurt our guest. Too much. Callahan, don't kill him. This time Callahan comes out on top and grabs Torque in an iron hold. Her companion struggles, but can't quite break away. I will not be denied, Helene. I will not be denied, Helene. Not this time. You will do as I command. And she will do as I command her, Douglas, old boy. What? Like I was trying to say before I was so rudely interrupted, I feel like I need to break up this little spectacle. It's been going on for much too long. You think you're so smart, Langley. You and your clique. Figured out that there was something fishy going on all on your own. But you were always working with just one piece of the puzzle. Wasn't she, Eric? Sophie looks to you, shocked and disappointed. What are you... What am I talking about, you ask? You fledgling. You don't know? How could you? Only I knew. About your sire, of course. They're the ones who agreed to embrace you after some negotiations. You hear a scream and a curse. It's Callahan, whose arm has been nearly ripped off his body. Torque breaks out of the Baron's grasp, but doesn't continue the attack. Instead, he's at the edge of the water in the blink of an eye and disappears into the Hudson. And the only trace left of him is his fedora. Leave him. Why can't you just trust the actors to play their roles? No matter. A problem for another night. He'll reach his allies. He'll tell everyone of this. Let him. Why not? Nobody will believe him. Besides, his nights are numbered now that he's in the SI's sights. Sophie looks at you. How could you, Eric? I saved you. Arturo suddenly appears next to her and slaps her in the face. Did you hear anything I said, Langley? Nothing. It's not them. It's me. Me. Thomas, what? No, shut up. Shut up! I'm talking now. You played this game all wrong. You were playing on one board, but you're just a pawn on another, bigger board, you see. You never realize the people at the top simply flip the chessboard over and punch you in the face whenever they don't like how the game is going. He motions to the remaining kindred. But the thing is, you weren't even adept at playing the game you knew. Eric? Just another pawn, placed on the board by my associate. You thought they were your piece since you took them in, but who gave you that idea? You returned to the night where you were judged by Prince Panhard, the woman in red, Sophie, somebody speaking to her, a man in glasses, the man standing before you now. This is cruel. We know what's going to happen. If only somebody would speak up for the poor child. They could be a useful tool for the Camarilla. Terror creeps onto Sophie's face. Of course, those are not the words you heard, were they? No. You were already grasping for some opportunity to further your scheme. I put the bait out and you took it, hook, line, and sinker. After that, it was only a matter of time before you started using Eric as your errand boy. No one is quite as easy to track and monitor as a knave fledgling who's just learning the ropes. What is it you want, Thomas? What do I want? Oh boy. The answer is so simple, but so hard to put into words. Unstable stability, cutting-edge tales of thrills and intrigue that push it to the limit, and then return you to the tried and tested status quo, gently, infallibly. A system full of distractingly moving parts which stimulate conflict so convincingly that its users never feel a need to direct their energy towards upsetting the system. Achieving the eternal through the disposable, building a city that's like a ship of Theseus, constantly changing its parts, yet always maintaining the same purpose, serving the same goal at all times. A large-scale infrastructure that has something like an exhaust system for the spirit, something that disperses the toxicity around instead of concentrating it into a single place. None of what you're saying makes the slightest bit of sense. Arturo is momentarily stopped in his tracks. He stares into the sky for a few seconds before a sad grin appears on his face. Spoken like someone who's never really had what it takes to make it to the big leagues. With a theatrical snap of fingers, he gives his last sentence a sense of finality. Something has changed in the air. You could swear you saw a shadow move behind Sophie. Goodbye, Sophie. A person appears behind Sophie. You can't believe your eyes. It's Adelaide Davis, holding garden shears in her hands. Take off and rush towards Sophie. You only take a few steps before a figure blinks right next to you and pushes you away. Arturo. You hear the shears snip. Sophie's red hair conceals her face and her head falls, separated from her shoulders. Silence. Arturo's unpleasant laughter erupts right next to you. Oh, Eric, your career is moving at a breakneck pace. Moving up and up and up. Let me congratulate you on your promotion. What do you want from me? I was about to get to that. Helene, feel free to leave us and take the Baron with you. Thomas, I don't think you should. Shush. You're being jealous. You're just being jealous. Adelaide, escort the prince and dear old Douglas, please. Sure thing, darling. You're left alone next to Sophie's body. You try not to look, but it's hard to ignore her lithe frame decomposing in front of your eyes. Her red dress is like a cloth thrown over a mummified corpse. Congratulations. You won this little game. You set out on a suicide mission and successfully brought down the power-hungry wannabe tyrant, even if it probably wasn't the way you imagined it. Now you're free to enjoy paradise again. Life after death, immortality, eternal youth. What they don't tell you is, of course, living in paradise is inherently sinful when not everyone can partake. But you have time to learn how to live with sin, don't you? He takes a melancholic look at the city's skyline surrounding him. The Statue of Liberty and the lights of Manhattan shimmering in the distance. You know, New York taught me to believe in fate. My unlife began right here, and it began with utter despair. My first instinct was to drown myself in books and keep reading and reading until literature gave me the piece of wisdom I needed to go on. Personally, I find reading a silly hobby in retrospect. I always had this minuscule hope that the next sentence I'd read could finally bring me salvation, but it never did. It only gave me fuel for this elevated, righteous, intellectual suffering. But the more I read, the easier it was for me to boil every paragraph down to a power relationship. The characters' influence over each other, the writer trying to impress the reader, etc. The strings everyone pulls started to look like strands that weave into the fabric of fate. And once I saw its beauty, I got teary-eyed. My architect instincts kicked into overdrive. I didn't have to submit to fate. All I had to do was cooperate with it and wait for my time to shine, give it my input wherever needed until it trusted me to do more. Thomas steps over what's left of Sophie, wiping his glasses with an elegant cloth from his pocket. And it did. Fate let me look after the city with my architect's tools, and I started quietly shaping the streets and corridors, while Kaiser and his ilk shaped the information flow. And among many tools this process gave me, one of them was a way to reliably come up with useful agents like you. The methods I used were crude at times, but the route was there. All you had to do was follow it. Some people write rulebook passages, the others plan city arteries. In the end, the effect is the same. Someone always follows. He puts on the glasses and gives you a long, hard look. I've grown fond of you. You've done so well. Even that idiot Callahan tipped off the Inquisition. You still escaped. I like that kind of resourcefulness. I could use that kind of resourcefulness. He uncovers his wrist. So, take my blood. Just enough so we can start off on the right foot, as a sign of good faith. A sign that you're already in play in the big leagues, ready to behold the sights I prepared for you. What do you say, Eric? Oh. Wow, okay, that's very, very interesting. Oh, wow, let me tell you something. I really like this universe that they've created. Not quite as good as like a Fred Saberhagen's Vampire universe, but it's pretty high up there. Just as far as intriguing characters and well-written prose and, you know, good dialogue. I don't know if I'll ever play the board game, because I generally do not play a lot of pen and paper. I don't really have the kind of time or the gaggle of friends to play those kind of things with. You know, I'll play Bloodlines 2 when that comes out, but that's as far as like my venture into Vampire the Masquerade will probably follow. And if they decide to release more of these Vampire the Masquerade visual novels, then I think I'm all for that. We do have 2 other characters to play as well, plus the separate standalone expansion. Shadows of New York. But yeah, I'm pretty happy with this. I think if you're even a little bit curious about kind of a different take on the vampire universe, then yeah, you should check it out for yourself as well. Obviously, there's a lot of variations in the game, so you could make completely different choices than me and have different allies. And I think that would change the narrative a little bit. I'm not sure by how much, but it seems like there could be some pretty different variances inside of there. I do wonder if anybody has like a playthrough where you get no allies. I wonder how that looks. But yeah, we'll definitely play more of this with the other 2 characters and learn the perspectives there. And I'm assuming if it's like most of the visual novels that there'll be like a 4th storyline or a 5th storyline that unlocks after you get through everything else. So yeah, really excited to see that. Once again, this is audap watching Vampire the Masquerade Coteries of New York on Nintendo Switch. Hope you enjoyed watching. I will see you at the next stream.